Hi, I'm Kendra, and I am the librarian for Apparel Design and Merchandising. And this is just going to be a quick video tutorial that goes over the basics on how to do research in historical costume. In this video, I will talk about the best sources of information for historical costume research, where to go and find those sources, a few search techniques that will help you save time in doing your research, and most importantly, how to get help with research. Unlike the research you do for most of your apparel classes, when it comes to historical costume, books are actually the most important resource for finding information. So we'll talk a bit about how to find those. Journal articles can still be useful, so we'll go over a couple of quick reminders of the information that you learned in your GWAR class, ADM 360. And then we'll also talk about how to find images for historical costume research, both images of actual garments as well as related useful information like portraits, photographs, fashion plates, things like that. One of the first things we need to talk about are the words that you use when you are searching for information. In any research topic, there's always multiple ways to say the same thing. Words that are different but still have the same meaning. And you'll find that different sources will use different words when they're really talking about the same thing. So in the case of historical costume, words like costume, fashion, clothing, dress, and apparel all basically mean the same thing. There's also related words like style, dressmaking, tailoring. So it's important to try multiple searches using different words. If you only search using the word costume, you will miss out on a really useful book or article that happens to use the word fashion or the word dress. Now that we've talked a little bit about some of the words you're going to use in your searching, let's talk about where you're going to go and do that searching. The SFSU library website is always the best place to start your research. You'll find lots of information here, links to different research databases, ways to get help. One of the most important links are to the research guides, and these are what they sound like. It's a guide to doing research. If you look through the different research guides, you'll see we have a link for apparel design and merchandising. The most useful one is going to be the first one, Apparel Design, Merchandising, and Costume. The Apparel Design, Merchandising, and Costume Research Guide is the one website that pulls together all of the information that I'm going to go over in this tutorial. You'll see that it goes over how to go about finding books, articles, images, useful websites, statistics, company financials and information, all of the information that you may need to find in your different apparel classes. If you look at the Books tab, you'll find links that will show you where to search for books here in the SFSU library using the OneSearch. It also lets you know how to get books from other libraries, which is a free service. So let's go into the SFSU library OneSearch and talk a little bit about searching for books. Let's try a search for Costume History Children. That brings up 14 different books here in the SFSU library that you might want to check out. As I mentioned before, you always want to try multiple searches using different terms. So let's compare this search with a search for Dress History Children. Now we get 32 results, which is a whole lot more. So as you can see, different books will come up using different search words, so never just try one search. As you look at the list of search results, you'll see a bit of information about each book, and if you want to know more about the book, you can click on the title, and you'll find a bit more information about the book. Here we can see this is about children's clothing, specifically in Great Britain and in the 19th century. The other thing that's helpful here is you will see information about how to cite the book. So you can copy and paste that into your bibliographies. Notice that if you log in, you can start saving records, meaning saving the information about books or articles or other things that you find. And what's nice is that later, if you pull up your saved records, you'll be able to pull up a list of the different books and articles you were interested in. Let's talk about the different places you'll need to go to find books. Some of our books are available online, and in that case you'll find a link telling you it's an electronic book available to SFSU students and faculty. Click on that link and you will open up the book online where you can read it, download it, etc. Some of our books are ones that you will go and get yourself, and those are the ones that tell you which floor to go to in the library. If you see a book that tells you to go to Books 4th floor or Books 3rd floor, write down the call number and come into the library and just ask at one of our help desks and we'll show you where to go to get the book. Some of our books have to be requested. If you see a book that gives you a link that says request, just click on that link, type in your name, and we will grab the book for you and bring it to the book checkout desk within 15 minutes. You don't have to pick up the book right away. We'll keep it at that desk for about a week, but you can get it right away if you want to. So as you're searching, you may notice on the left-hand side a link for Link Plus. And that is that free service that lets you get books from other libraries. Click on Link Plus and you'll be able to see what books are available in Link Plus for the search that you've just done. And then of course you can try other searches to see what books come up under other search words. If you find something that looks interesting, click on the title and you'll see a request link. Just click on that link, fill out the form, and we will get the book shipped here to the SFSU library within 3 to 5 days. And again, that's a free service. Back on the Apparel Design, Merchandising, and Costume Research Guide, you will find a tab for locating articles. As I mentioned before, articles are a useful tool for historical costume research. You're just more likely to find more information in books. You may remember from your GWAR course, ADM 360, that you can use the Library OneSearch to search for articles. And here you can try the same kinds of searching that we were doing for books. The big difference when it comes to searching articles are that you're going to find a whole lot more results. For example, here's a search for costume history children, and it found over 77,000 articles. So it's really important to use the options on the left-hand side of the screen that will let you focus in your search results. The first thing you might want to choose is scholarly only. This will limit your search results to only those articles that are peer-reviewed. Notice we went from 77,000 to 28,000. So we just got rid of a whole lot of articles. Another thing you may want to check off is journal article, so that you only get research journal articles, not book reviews and other types of publications. There is an option for publication date if you need to find stuff that's published really recently. That doesn't happen so much in historical costume, so I recommend not using it unless you have to. And then the other really useful filter on this left-hand bar is the subject area. This is a way to say, only show me articles that are looking at my topic from a particular perspective. Notice, for example, that there are search results coming up here from the field of education. That doesn't sound all that relevant to historical costume research. So you can check off anything on this list. If you want to see the full options though, click on More Options. For historical costume research, I recommend checking off History and Archaeology, Visual Arts, and Sociology and Social History. Choosing just those subject areas brings us down to a list of just 3,500 articles. Now, that still is a huge amount, but it's not 77,000. Notice that the articles are sorted by relevance, so theoretically, the first couple of pages will have the most useful articles for you. Now, of course, the search that I've done is kind of vague. We might want to put in some more search words at this point to focus in our search. So we might decide, for example, just to look at children's costume here in the United States. Change the buttons from New Search to Keep Search Refinements, and that will hang on to all the filters you've chosen. Bringing in a more focused search word brought our search results down to just 1,800 articles. Most of the articles that you find will have full text available online. Some articles will not be available, but if it's an article that you're interested in, you can still get it. The best thing to do is to go to the library's main homepage and use the IM Library Help to ask a librarian to help you track it down. The last thing I want to talk about is how to track down images of historical costume or people wearing historical costume. If you look at the Apparel Design, Merchandising, and Costume Research Guide and go to the Images tab, you'll find a box of information for historical costume image collections. There's a lot of different useful links that you can check out here. The most useful ones are the first two, so let's take a look. The first link is for ArtStore, and that's an online image database that includes paintings, photographs, prints, all sorts of useful information. If you follow the links into ArtStore, you can search for different images. As always, it's a good idea to play with different searches. Here's the results of a search for costume children. We could also search for photographs of children, paintings of children, and you'll see some very useful ways to focus in your search. For example, at the top of the screen here, there's a way to focus in the date range that you're interested in. Notice also on the left the option to focus in on geography. If we want to see only paintings from the United States, we can choose that option, and now we have a lot fewer images to look through. What's really cool about this particular database is not only that there's lots of images in it, but also the ability to really zoom in on the images and the ability to download them in high resolution. The other database I want to mention is the New York Public Library Digital Collections. This is a great collection of photographs, prints, fashion plates, paintings, all sorts of different images, many of which feature people wearing costume. We can search for a general search like children and costume, and you'll see all sorts of interesting results come up. Here are some fashion plates, advertisements, all sorts of things. Notice on the left that you can put in specific dates, and that will really help focus down in your search results. The very last thing to mention are the different ways to get help with your research. There are librarians available here in the SFSU library who would be more than happy to help you with your research. You can come in and get help on a drop-in basis at the research assistance desk on the library's first floor, right next to the elevators. You can also use the instant messaging library help to ask for help by chat. You're also more than welcome to get in touch with me, Kendra, directly. I'd be more than happy to work with you one-on-one by email, on the phone, or get together, whatever I can do to help with your research for any of your apparel design and merchandising courses. You can find my contact information back on that apparel design, merchandising, and costume research guide, or just walk in or call the library and ask them to get you in touch with the apparel librarian.